All right, we are finishing off the organelles here. So, and remind me again, organelles are what? Like, what do they do? Like, what are they? So they're little organs, organelles, that's where they get the name from, okay? But what's their point? They help the cell function, okay? They carry out some specific function, right? To allow the cell to work, right? We talked about the nucleus that contains the DNA, right? The chromosomes are all there, covered in that nuclear envelope with the nuclear pores, letting things in and out. Endoplasmic reticulum, smooth ER with no ribosomes, and the rough ER that has ribosomes, right? The smooth guys are regulating calcium concentration, amongst other things. That's what I want you to know about it. And rough ER, again, is for protein synthesis. It carries the ribosomes that do the protein synthesis, right? And these are this system of interconnected channels, or cisternae. That's the word that your textbook likes to use, cisternae. Ribosomes, again, they synthesize protein. Take amino acids, put them together in a chain, and make proteins. Golgi complex, or Golgi apparatus, you may have heard it called that as well. That is involved in carbohydrate and glycoprotein synthesis. So remember, proteins and sugars together make a glycoprotein. And it also packages products into the Golgi vesicle. Remember, a vesicle is like a bubble-like thing that brings stuff either in or out, right? It's like the spaceship. It's too big to go in the passageways, so it has to be in the spaceship to get in and out. It's a vesicle. The lysosomes is where we ended yesterday. These guys contain enzymes. Pause. What do enzymes do? They're catalysts, right? Keep things that make the reactions happen easier or quicker, right? They lower the activation energy. Makes it easier. So there are enzymes that will break down pieces of the cell that are not necessary anymore. Maybe we've got too many ribosomes or too many Golgi apparatuses. Let's break them down. So intracellular digestion and also autophagy, actually keeping the cell, like killing it if we don't need it. Are you with me? Next we've got peroxisomes. So let's go to our lovely pictures here. Lysosomes are where we ended. What does peroxisome sound like? Peroxide, which is exactly where it gets its name from. Okay? It uses oxygen to produce hydrogen peroxide. Notice here's the formula, H2O2, right? It's just putting one more oxygen on a water molecule. And by doing that, that causes other things to break down. It causes, it takes free radicals and neutralizes them. These are basically these electrons that are just out there floating around. We break those guys down. Detoxifying alcohol, other drugs in the blood, like breaking down those drugs and alcohol so they're not as poisonous to you and you can actually deal with them and pee them out. It breaks down fatty acids. These are very abundant in the liver and kidney, which makes sense. Those are your filter places in your body. Okay, on your study guide, it says peroxisome contain enzymes to detoxify cells using oxygen. Make sense? And again, the perox, that should be the big ding, ding, ding in your mind. Oh, right, peroxide, H2O2, it's the extra oxygen. That's what's the key. Proteasomes. And I'm not even positive I'm pronouncing that correctly, but we'll pretend I am. Okay. Hollow cylindrical organelle disposes of surplus proteins, so it contains enzymes that break down proteins into their shorter amino acids, right? So it's like we made a whole bunch of these blue proteins. We don't need a bunch of blue ones. I need a bunch of red ones now. So break down the blue ones, and let's make more red ones. Does that make sense? Helping to break down the protein digestion, moving those proteins. So it contains enzymes, the decomposition of unneeded proteins for proteasomes, which sounds like protein, doesn't it? Like the same root, proteasomes. Mitochondria. Okay, give me the biology word. What is the mitochondria? The powerhouse of the cell. I was chuckling. It was actually even on the slideshow that it said that. Back to the other one.
So the cells sometimes makes proteins that aren't used. I thought cells use the body's.
Right. So there is a whole variety that it's going to be using, but depending on what the cell is doing, it may need more a specific protein than another. So, again, just like the weird thing you have to think about is that the cell is always being bombarded by these changing conditions, right? Whether you're sitting here or whether you're on the volleyball court playing, different conditions, right? Whether you're sleeping, whether you've just eaten. All of these things have different demands on the cell, so they'll need different amounts of proteins, different amounts of different pieces. So those proteasomes just basically help the cell have the right proteins they need. Because remember, it's all made of the same 20 amino acids, right? I just break them down and reorganize them. It's like a big, huge pile of Legos. I can build anything I want. But I can't leave the Millennium Falcon up. I got to break it down in order to build the Hogwarts castle. You know what I mean? All right. So mitochondria, we'll talk a whole bunch more about these guys. And when we say powerhouse of the cell, what is it we mean? Like, what's the point behind the mitochondria? That they make ATP. That's the whole point. It's all about the ATPs. Thank you, David. It's all about the ATPs. So we're taking these glucoses, we're breaking them down, and we're sealing that energy in one of the phosphate bonds, an ADP that has only 2 phosphates. We add a third one on there, and in that bond between it, we capture all that lovely energy. So as an ATP, if this is our mitochondria, they have put that, we've sealed that energy there. I take it over to the cell uses it, and she breaks it apart, and she got tons of energy now, right? But now I'm just an ADP. I got to go back to the mitochondria again. Give me some more energy, guys. Give me more energy. Oh, good. ATP again. Now I come to this cell, and she breaks it apart. She's so energized, so excited. You with me? It's just a big cycle of ADP to ATP, ADP, ADP, over again.
So they both have energy.
Right, the ADP we can't use. In other words, our cells can't use the energy there. It's like the dead battery. It's like your phone after a whole day of using it, right? I need to go plug it in at the mitochondria to get more energy into it. And then I can take it to the cell and you can play that game all you want. Make sense? And again, we'll talk much more about mitochondria in the next couple of chapters here.
Good morning. Today is September 5th. Welcome to the Hornet Corner.
I'm not sure she
You had an amazing day yesterday.
realizes that it's going to everybody.
Hornets are considered to be gentle giants. That's right. They aren't aggressive. Like most nest-building insects, hornets will usually only attack a defender colony when they feel it is being threatened. They tend to avoid conflict and
Okay. I have no idea how we suddenly got up here. Mitochondria. That's what we're looking at. Yes, sir. Yeah, after the next class. Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm not sure everybody's quite here yet. So again, you can see that the mitochondria has got all these little areas inside here, right? Lots of membranes. There's actually even ribosomes that are in the mitochondria because there are some specific proteins that these guys need to help this process of making ATPs. So it's its own little factory, its own little ATP factory. That's the key about mitochondria. And I promise you, nowhere on a test will you ever see the powerhouse of the cell. Okay? What does that mean? We're making ATPs, okay? Getting energy for the body to use. Last but not least, of our organelles, we've got centrioles. These are little microtubules that are used in cell division. So if I come back to our PowerPoint here, there are these cylindrical microtubules, these little building blocks, right? So if you remember in our study about mitosis, where you have prophase and metaphase and anaphase and telophase, when everything comes to the middle and then they pull apart. The spines that allow them to do that are the centrioles. We'll talk all about that in the next chapter, actually. They are also the basis for our cilia and our flagella. right? So the cilia, remember, that's moving the mucus in the respiratory system. And the flagellum is a little tail on the sperm that keeps it going, right? So those are built from centrioles. Does that make sense? Cool. Last but not least, well, there's a big picture you can see. And they're often put in these nice little shapes. And again, I mentioned it the other day about the motor, about how that flagellum, it is a motor. And the way they have it built, like it has all the parts. It looks just like a motor. And the way it works is just the same. It's craziness to think that something like that could just put itself together. Last but not least, the actual literal last slide on this PowerPoint is talking about inclusions. If I'm including somebody, what does that mean? You're bringing them in. Hey, no, come on, join our group. You're cool enough. Come hang with us, right? That is basically what an inclusion is. It is not an actual part of the cell. It's just something that has somehow found its way inside. Maybe the cell needs it for something, but it's not essential. We don't have to have it. It's like 95% of the stuff in our houses. We don't really need it, but it's nice to have there. It makes the wall look pretty. Are you with me? And again, there's a whole bunch of different things that it could be inside there, but I'm not worried that you understand that. Just basically, this is a non-essential part of the cell that has found its way inside the cell membrane, so therefore we have to give it a scientific sounding name. We can't just say, oh, that's a dust particle. No, it's an inclusion. Oh, now that's impressive. Are you with me? Any questions there? Okay, I'm going to stop this.